This is Jonathan Gavoni here of DraftExpress.com, sitting here with Blake Griffin in New York City. Blake, how have the last few weeks been for you?
They've been pretty crazy. Mostly just been training. I've been out in California training, getting ready, and then just kind of doing stuff like this in New York for different stuff for a few days, and I'll head back out to California.
Right. How anxious are you about tomorrow night, the lottery?
I'm anxious, but at the same time, nothing's set in stone. Just because the teams are in order doesn't particularly mean I'm going here or there. But yeah, I mean it's definitely exciting to see the possible places.
Right. Talking to some other top picks over the years, they kind of said that lottery night is a lot of anxiety, it's nervousness, and draft night is excitement. Does it feel that way for you? I guess you don't know what the draft yet, but
yeah, kind of. I mean, tomorrow night kind of holds the excitement of where you don't know what's kind of happening. I don't know where I'm going to be, over the next few years or however long. So I mean, tomorrow night is kind of more of a nervous kind of thing.
do you think that the way the ping pong ball is dropped, could that play a role in how your career pans out?
It might change a few things, but hopefully wherever I go, we'll be successful as a team and hopefully have a long, great career.
Right. Is there any attractiveness to staying in a place like New York or being in a big market like LA over a smaller place?
Oh, definitely. I'd love to play in a big city like that where the market's great and all that, but at the same time, there's a lot of other great cities besides New York and LA, and there's a lot of great opportunities in the teams that could possibly get it.
How nice would it be for you to stay close to Oklahoma City?
I think it'd be a good situation, but at the same time, I've been in Oklahoma my whole life, so I have a spot in my heart for Oklahoma. Obviously, growing up there and living there all my life, but I wouldn't mind getting out and seeing different stuff.
Right. So let's rewind the clock back 2 years to 2007. I was just looking this up. You were ranked as a number 17 overall recruit in the country. Scout.com had you at 16. Rivals had you at 23. Now you're on the verge of being the #1 pick. So what happened in that 2-year span?
I feel like I improved. Obviously, I really dedicated myself to the game and really dedicated myself to trying to get better. Taking my game to another level. I just in my class there are so many great players. I mean, you look at top 4 picks last year. Derrick Rose, Michael Beasley, Kevin Love, O.J. Mayo, those guys were all in my class. So I don't think it was a thing where I was overlooked. I just, I had my own time, and I just tried to make the most of it.
Right. I was talking to one of the high school recruiting guys actually about this, and they were saying that one of the knocks against you at some point was that you didn't always play hard in AAU, and that pretty much floored me, based off what I've seen from you in the last 2 years. Was that something that you heard before?
I'd heard that I didn't always play hard in high school, which I mean maybe I did. Maybe I didn't play as hard as I do in college, or as I did in college. But you kind of got to understand that the level of competition is a little bit different. And I'm not saying that I shouldn't have played hard all the time, but it's one of those things where I guess they had their opinion of me, and that's what they saw. I tried to change that when I came to college. I tried to show people that I was going to play hard and work hard and always be the guy that keeps going.
So speaking of playing hard, I was wondering if you could maybe talk about the technical aspects of being a great rebounder, because that's something that was probably the first thing that made people notice you, I think, early on.
I think some guys just have an itch for it. They can feel where the ball's coming off the rim, and some guys are just big. I try to use a little bit of both. I try to use my strength to get great position, but also to read where the ball's coming off. And you know, I think a lot about rebounding is wanting it more. You know, guys that you look at guys in the NBA, Charles Barkley, guys that aren't that big, Dennis Rodman, guys like that, they just wanted it more, and they had a great feel for it. So hopefully I can carry that over.
How equipped do you feel like you are to deal with the amount of scrutiny that comes along with being the #1 pick?
You know, that's what I'm working on right now. You know, it's a never-ending process for me, trying to get better and trying to you know, make myself more skilled to where I can become the player that I want to be. You know, I'm not going to worry about it. There's been guys that have gone before me that have handled it just fine. And, you know, those are the guys that I want to emulate, the guys that, you know, I want to learn from.
Right. So we've seen that #1 tag be somewhat of a burden on some other guys in the past as well. For example, a lot of people think that Greg Oden has kind of gone into a shell with all the pressure that's on him. Is that something that you're concerned about at all?
It's really not, because, you know, whether, in my mind, whether I go #1 or I go number 60, I'm still the same player. It doesn't matter if, you know, going #1 doesn't make me a better player. So I mean, it's all about what I do with it. It's about how, you know, how I handle it and how I you know, handle my business. And I'm not going to let, you know, anything, you know, that people are saying affect me and affect my game.
Have you ever thought maybe it's so much better to be like the #2 pick? I mean, if you can go to a better situation with better teammates, stuff like that, be able to win faster, does that matter as much?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, winning is definitely a priority for me. But you know, it really just depends on, you know, who is where. You know, there could be a really good team at #2, or there could be a really good team at #1. It just kind of depends on where it falls. It's all about having a good fit and trying to fit into the system, whatever system that may be.
Any thoughts on, you know, feelings about Sacramento, for example?
I mean, you know, they have, obviously they've had it down here, but, you know, they have players that are good, and, you know, like I said, it's just about me trying to fit into the system and trying to help make the team better.
And what about Washington?
I mean, they have a lot of talent. You know, for their record, last year they have, you know, so much talent, and you know, not having Gilbert Arenas pretty much all season, you know, obviously hurt them a lot. But I think they're a great team, and they could be a great team next year. You know, just by getting their guys back.
Right. One of the things that you've been criticized for this past season, for example, is your defense. What kind of defender do you think you're going to be in the NBA?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be a good defender. I've always liked defense. My dad was my coach, and he was big on defense. And you know, I kind of got away from that in college for whatever reason it was. I was a little tentative to pick up fouls and to play aggressively, which is really my style. And you know, hopefully, I'm gonna work hard to pick that back up and to really kind of be more of a complete player on both the offensive and defensive end.
Right. Do you think that the 18-foot jumper, will that ever be some major part of your repertoire?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's something I've been working on for the past, you know, 2 years. You know, and really dedicating myself to it. You know, a lot of people say, you know, they haven't seen me shoot outside of 2 feet. They haven't seen me shoot, you know, besides dunking the ball. But you know, it's there. I'm going to use it. I'm going to keep working on it until it becomes one of my, you know, main weapons.